Okay, so have you ever wondered how much you can charge per remote online notarization in each state? Well, if you haven't, I have, okay? And luckily, the NNA makes it super easy because they actually have like an updated 2024, fee structure per state. So if you go on their website, and I'll link it somewhere below, you can see how much you can charge per, traditional notarization and RON and RIN and IPIN or whatever it is per state, which is great. And I want to go through that list for you because it's quite an eye opener, to be honest. And before we start, I want to make sure that we're all kind of level set. So if you're not a remote online notary, or you're just not a notary in general, then you may not know your state sets the price on how much you can charge per notarial act, right? You can't just go and charge the person whatever it is that you want unless your state dictates it. So if you don't know how much you can charge, please make sure to check with whoever gave you your notarial commission. Typically, it's the Secretary of State. Don't go off just what I am saying because maybe the data may be wrong, but please make sure to double check that. Now, when it comes to remote online notarizations, it's a little bit different than it is with a traditional mobile notarization, right? Because there's other additional costs like transaction costs or platform fees, right? Most platforms charge you a fee to use their software. And that fee can be, $10, $15, $8. It really just depends on the platform itself. So being able to charge a decent amount per RON transaction is super important because the numbers obviously have to make sense. And before we get started, I want you to guess which state allows you to charge the most for a remote online notarization and which state allows you to charge the least. Put it in the comments. Don't cheat. Do it before you watch the video. But let's get into it because I think it's going to be a fun one. Now, we're going to start with who lets you charge the lowest. So coming in at the absolute bottom are 4 states. It is Wisconsin, North Dakota, Minnesota, and Missouri, allowing you to charge a whopping $5 per remote online notarization. $5, which is absolutely nothing. And to give you an idea of like how the numbers kind of play out, let's look at like 3 RON platforms and look at how much they charge per transaction so you can kind of get a sense of like how that math would work. So Notarize, for one stamp, they charge you $10. So you as a notary will get charged $10 just to use their platform at the very least. Secured Signing charges $11.50 at the very least to use their platform. One Notary charges, I think it's like $13 at the very least to use their platform. So if you are in one of these 4 states that I will have put on the screen and you can only charge your client $5 and you get charged by the platform $10, you're in the red, you're in the negative. The way I'm thinking is like, it doesn't really make sense to be a RON in those states unless they allow you to tack on a bunch of extra charges, which I'm not sure if they do. But for those states, please do better because that's terrible. Now, what you can do in those states, there's a couple platforms that do this, but I'll say one of them for now. So there is a platform that is completely free, no monthly fees, no transaction fees, and that's Blue Notary. And Blue Notary, the way it works is they will charge the client for you, so you're not necessarily bound to how much your Secretary of State allows you to charge. It's a little bit of a gray area in my mind, but it is legal, which is you bring your client onto the platform, they will automatically charge your client $25, and you get that difference between, the $25 they charge them and their kind of transaction cost, which is, I think you'll get like $15 in your pocket. So even though you are allowed to charge $5, you are not the one charging your client, the platform is. So they're allowed to charge them more, which means you get to make more. So if you are in one of those states where you can't make a lot of money per transaction, consider a platform like Blue Notary. And I'll also link it down below. This isn't sponsored, but it is a platform available. Okay, so now let's go just one tier above that. So there's another 4 states that allow you to charge $10. So just a tiny bit more than what you could charge otherwise. And those states are South Dakota, Arizona, Michigan, and Montana. So again, with $10, you're still gonna want to go with a free platform, right? Because it depends. Some states allow you to charge per seal, some per transaction. So for example, every time you do your electronic notarial stamp, they allow you to charge $10, and sometimes it's like the transaction in its totality, they only let you charge $10. So you'll have to kind of figure out those nuances. But for the most part, if you can only charge $10, Again, you're going to need to go with a completely free platform because that's low. So now we have to get into what I consider the top tier. Now, this isn't the tippy top. This is just the top tier. Now, thankfully, there's a lot of states that actually let you charge a reasonable price, but that actually was not always the case. Like, for example, Colorado, because I was dual commissioned in Colorado, they only let you charge $10 for like the longest time. And they finally upped it in the last few months, sometime last year. But now there are 19 states that allow you to charge $25. Now, $25 in my mind is the bare minimum that your state should allow you to charge in order for RON to actually end up making sense. Because remember, RON is easier than traditional notarizations in the sense that you don't need to go to anybody. There's less overhead cost in that way. But you should have to think of the platform fee. So if you can charge $25, platform charges you $10, you make $15. Now, you may say $15 isn't a lot of money, but the thing about RON transactions, especially general notary work, those appointments can be really quickly. Like, you can easily knock out 2-3 appointments, depending on who they are, in an hour. So yeah, it's $15 for one transaction. You do 2 in an hour, that's $30 an hour. You do 3, $45 an hour. You get it, you know math. So just saying, even though it's only $15, you do them here or there, you add it to your business. If you have a platform that's not too expensive, yeah, it starts to work. Okay, so now this is a tier that I didn't really want to include at the tippy top because you can't really quantify it. But there are some states that allow you to charge whatever you want as long as you fully disclose it to your signer and they agree upon the terms. So they don't set a fee for you at all. They allow you to charge whatever you see fit for your business. They do say it needs to be reasonable. What that means, I'm not sure. For me, whatever is reasonable is what your client's willing to pay. But those states are Arkansas, Kansas, Iowa, Kentucky, Maine, Massachusetts, and Vermont. So if you are in one of those states, then you can charge what it is that you want to charge. Now that's great because, especially with RON, like those are states, to me, I've never lived in any of those. They're a little bit more spread out, a little bit more rural, and people don't necessarily want to travel all the way to you to do a notarization. So being able to do it remotely is great. And I think because of that convenience, you can charge a little bit more. So I wouldn't be surprised if you charge, $40, $50 for a transaction or whatever it ends up working out for you. If you're in those states, let me know what you charge. I'm actually really curious on how much you charge in those states. Now let's get to the tippy top of the states that allow you to charge the most from a remote online notarizations. And hopefully one of the ones that you guessed is in here. Now the two coming in at the top are Maryland and Texas. So Maryland lets you charge $30 for a remote online notarization, and Texas lets you charge $25 plus the standard notarization fee. And I believe the standard notarization fee is $10. So then you would be able to charge $35, right? Now, the only reason I included them together versus making Texas just the absolute top is because I'm not 100% positive on the standard notarization fee. I think it varies based on the notarial act that you're doing. But either way, if you're in one of those two states, you're charging $30+ for a remote online notarization. I'm like, other states take note. Like, being able to charge $30+ seems like the way to go. So shout out to Texas and Maryland, because that is amazing. If you're in those states, let me know if that's something that you've seen is really beneficial. And if you've seen that people are actually willing to pay that amount. But anyways, that is all I had. I wanted to make this a quick one, hopefully an interesting one for you all. Again, links in the description if you want to check out the NNA's website for that list of how much you're able to charge in each state. And I'll have a link to Blue Notary if anybody is looking to check out a free platform and just see what that's like, especially if you're in a state that allows you to charge 10 and under. But any state, I believe they're available in a lot of states right now. But anyways, thank you as always for watching. Leave all your comments, questions, concerns in the comment section, and I will catch you in the next one.